So here we begin chapter 5 in book 2. You can see a picture there of Poppy. He's in his fabulous shirt there and his white pants by his Christmas tree. It's him at Christmas. After having limited access to a television all our lives, Mago, Carlos, and I couldn't get enough of it now. Even though we couldn't understand English very well, we loved to watch He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers, Beverly Hills Teens, and Gem. For a minute, we'd also owned an Atari. One of Poppy's tenants had given it to us after she bought her son a Nintendo, but then Mila took it away and gave it to her own children without even telling us. I missed playing Frogger. One day, while we were watching Thundercats, Santa Claus appeared on the screen during one of the commercial breaks. Christmas was only 3 weeks away, and we were worried because we didn't have any money to get Poppy a present. He would only give us $1 once in a while. As soon as we got it, we would run down to Barney's Liquors and Market on the Monte Vista Street and buy Now and Laters. Sometimes, when he was in a good mood, Poppy would give us $1 each, and we would pool our money and buy a ham and cheese sandwich from Fidel's Pizza on Avenue 50. Santa Claus said something I couldn't quite understand, but a telephone number flashed on the screen. Mago rushed to the rotary phone. "What are you doing?" Carlos asked. "I'm calling Santa." "I thought Santa doesn't exist," Carlos asked. "What do you mean he doesn't exist?" I asked. "Don't you see him there on the TV?" Mago punched Carlos in the arm. "This is the United States, pendejo. Everything exists here." Mago dialed the number and called Santa. She frowned. "What's wrong?" Carlos said. "It's in English," Mago said. "Doesn't Santa speak Spanish?" I asked. "Shh," Mago said. She listened intently, her eyebrows pulling together as she concentrated. Then she smiled. "Is it really Santa?" I asked. "It must be," Mago said, covering the receiver. "He's talking too fast. All I could make out was ho, 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 so it must be him, right?" Then she motioned for me to be quiet and got back on the line. "Hello, Santa Claus? I want Barbie. I want bike. Please, me good girl. Thank you." She gave the phone to Carlos. Hello, Carlos said, smiling his crooked smile. A Nintendo to me, please." My turn, I said, jumping excitedly. "Wait, but I don't know how to say skates in English." I turned to Mago and asked her. Carlos gave me the phone, and I clutched it tight in my hands. "Come on, he's gonna hang up." Mago kept thinking. Finally, she shrugged. "I don't know, Nina." Frustrated, I put the phone to my ear. "Aló, Santa Claus? Yo quiero patines, por favor. Me deme unos patines para Navidad. Thank you." Mago took the phone away and hung up. "Do you think he understood what I said?" I asked them. "He's Santa Claus." "I don't see why not," Mago said. "Don't worry, Nina." We turned back to the TV, but I was no longer interested in Thundercats. I thought about my skates. In Iguala, nobody I knew had skates. You can't skate on dirt roads. But here, this was the perfect place to own skates. But now I'd ruined my chance of getting them because I was sure Santa Claus hadn't understood a word I'd said. "I can't believe you asked for a Barbie," Carlos teased Mago. She punched him in the arm, but I didn't see anything. Instead, bougainvillea blossomed on her cheeks. I knew why she had done it. When Poppy bought me my new Barbie, Mago wanted one also, but Poppy said she was too old. What my father hadn't understood was that we had never owned a Barbie. So what do you do when all your life you have yearned for such a thing? "What are we going to do about a present?" Carlo asked. Christmas was the following day, and we still didn't have anything for Poppy. I glanced at the Christmas tree Mila bought at Pick and Save. It wasn't real, but it was the most beautiful tree we'd ever owned. I'd thought about the branch that Tio Crazy painted back in Mexico, though he did a good job decorating it. Nothing could compare to that 6-foot-tall green beauty shining with colorful lights and glittering with silver garlands. Mila sent us to Barney's to buy a bottle of Mazola oil because she had just run out. As we neared the store, Mago stopped and said, "We're going to do something we have never done before. But at this point, we have no choice." "What?" Carlos and I asked. Then Mago shared her plan, which involved stealing. Back in Mexico, we stowed stolen fruit from people's property, but we had never stolen anything from a store. The liquor store had mirrors on the walls, and the Koreans who owned it would never take their eyes off the customers. I'd been there enough times to know that. What if we get caught? I asked, already thinking about the spanking we would get. By then, Poppy had made it clear that was his favorite form of discipline. We won't, Mago said, as she pulled us into the store. We split up. Mago said she would distract the owner while Carlos and I took whatever we thought would make good gifts. The thing was that I wished we had discussed what exactly a good gift was. The liquor store didn't have much. As I walked around, my stomach churned from fear of getting caught. The Korean lady kept looking at us. Our images were reflected in the mirrors up above. Luckily, her husband wasn't there, and she wouldn't keep her eyes on all three of us. Could she? Could she tell we were up to no good? Nothing seemed good enough for Poppy. Canned food, laundry items, diapers, sanitary napkins, toilet paper, soda bottles, chips. What do I take? What do I take? I glanced at Carlos. He was by the front, looking at the bottles of tequila displayed behind the counter. What does he think he's doing, I thought. Those bottles are totally unreachable, and even if he could steal a bottle, why would we want Poppy getting more drunk than he actually gets? Mago picked up the bottle of Mazola oil and took it to the counter. There, she knocked over the newspaper rack, and the Korean lady yelled at Mago and hurried to pick up the newspapers. I didn't waste any time. I grabbed an item and hurried out of the store. Carlos came out next, and Mago was last. We rushed up Avenue 50 as fast as we could, our hearts beating faster than when we trespassed into El Cuervo's mango grove. If we got caught, we wouldn't be shot at. We would get deported by Poppy. So what'd you guys get? Mago asked as we neared the house. Carlos took out a can of Aquanet hairspray from underneath his shirt. They didn't have much to choose from, he said when Mago laughed. And you? She asked. I showed her what I grabbed, a bottle of Tres Flores Brilliante. When have you ever seen Poppy use the hair polish? She asked. Never, I said. But Tio Crazy uses it, and so does Tia Guerra's husband. Mago groaned. It was the only thing for men I could see, I said, defending myself. I can't believe you guys, Mago said, as we turned the corner. We went through all this trouble for those lousy gifts. The next day, we ended up giving the bottle of Brilliante to Poppy and the hairspray to Mila. Their presents for us were much better. Although they weren't what we had asked for, I got a pair of new Pro Wing tennis shoes. Mago got a pretty peach dress, and Carlos a yellow Tonka truck. Santa never came. I kept waking up at night and glancing at the fireplace by our sofa bed. I was wondering if he was running late. I would tell myself he had many deliveries to make, and that was why it was taking him so long. But what if he knew we had stolen things from the store? What if he decided we weren't good kids and didn't deserve his presents? 2 weeks later, there was still no sign of Santa. Poppy called us over to the kitchen where he and Mila were going through their mail. What's this? Poppy said, holding a bill in his hand. Who in the world did you call? Why is this bill so high? Mago, Carlos, and I looked at each other. We never used the phone. We didn't know anyone here, so who would we call? We haven't called anyone, Mago said. Are you sure? Mila said. Well, a few weeks ago we did call Santa, Mago confessed. You did what? Mila said, taking the bill from Poppy to look at the number. He was on TV, and he said to call him, Carlos said. And we asked him for things, but he didn't bring them, I said. I can't believe you kids, Poppy yelled, standing up. We took a step back. We didn't know we would get charged for the call, Mago said. We're sorry, Poppy. And he didn't bring them, I said again. I'm still not done paying for my friends back the money they lent me to borrow for the smuggler, Poppy said, one hand on his belt buckle. Otherwise, I would put you all on the bus back to Mexico this very night. He He took off his belt and gave us a few lashes with it before grabbing his keys and storming out of the house. "Don't ever do that again," Mila said, writing out a check and putting it inside the return envelope. "Those are just scam artists trying to make money." "We're sorry, Mila," we said, wiping our teary eyes and massaging the stings on our arms. As we headed back to the living room, I wondered what Mila had meant. Why would Santa want to make money off of us when he has so much money he gives away toys to hundreds and thousands of kids, I wondered. Poppy returned half an hour later and headed straight to the phone. He worked on it for a few minutes, and we didn't know what he was doing until he was done and said, "There, now you can't call anymore." We walked up to the phone and saw the lock on it, so now we couldn't turn the little wheel to dial unless we put in a key. "What if there's an emergency?" Mago asked. "How are we going to call you?" But Poppy was unmoved.